Adhocracy News, February 27th, 2017. Today's top stories.
Trump cuts the arts.
The Academy AdWords.
10 marketing books for 2017.
Hello, I'm JD Melville.
And I'm David Landeen, and welcome to Adhocracy News, where we share the top stories from advertising, marketing, art, and design from this past week.
And if you are joining us and have for the last season of the Adhocracy show, thank you so much. If this is your first time, please click the subscribe button below to know when we have a new show. That's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
So, on to the top stories.
So, it's possible that this weekend you tuned in to watch the Academy Awards.
Many people did.
You may have thrown the party, you may have gotten together and made your picks, played a little bit of a bingo game or a drinking game.
You may have talked about who you were wearing.
And you may have been rooting for your own excited and nominated movies. But whatever you feel about the Academy Awards, maybe you feel that it is just the Super Bowl for women and you couldn't care less about these awards. Well, this is, again, like the Super Bowl, a ad event, basically, a marketing event that just happens to have movies involved.
Yeah, so one of the big things, just like the Super Bowl, is the amount of ads and ad revenue that takes place during this award ceremony, and it is going up year by year. And here's some statistics to prove what we're talking about.
Yeah, in 2015, the ad revenue reached $110 million.
The total ad spending has been on the rise since 2009, with a 16% increase from 2014 to 2015.
2015 saw the all-time high of ad time at almost 44 minutes total, or 12 minutes per hour.
The top 5 sponsors have spent $206 million over the past 5 years.
And sponsors have been on board for quite a while. For example, like McDonald's had been there since 1992 and American Express since 1993.
Some companies who have had exclusive deals with the Oscars or exclusive deals have changed.
Some of those contracts have ended, and now you've got new sponsors, you've got new people who are going to be moving in. You even have some that are going to hit the big four, basically the beginning of this year. We're all wanting media, we're all wanting to see stuff, and that includes the Academy Awards, Golden Globes, Grammys, and the Super Bowl.
And there is also regional or local commercials that play during these events, which is a great way there are a lot of times, and it's a great way for new markets to be, new regions, new markets to gain some strength and some foothold in these events. And
you've also got big advertisers who are buying up these smaller local regional stuff just so that they can be attached to this without having to pay the big dollars.
They don't charge mom and pop's grocery store millions of dollars for a 30-second commercial. So it's a good move on their part.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can bet that these companies, that the people who work on the show and social media, they love these things, and they have started many different types of campaigns that you probably saw last night.
Yeah, and we saw this with the Super Bowl where they tried to pull you not just into the Super Bowl and talk about the Super Bowl within their brand, but take you completely out and join a conversation that may be attached to it.
Yeah. So, moving on to our next story, something else you may not know about the Oscars is what goes into winning an award. As much as we think that the envelope opens and there's a magical name on the paper and that gets read and that's the extent of the Oscar winning process, there's actually a lot more. And just like everything else, it's all about the marketing.
Yeah, I mean, they make these movies and sometimes even start at the beginning of the movies to start marketing. I mean, it's a big way to get nominated. I mean, if you want to win, you've got to make buzz. You need to create the emotion around your movie.
So a lot of times what people will do is they will start a narrative. Two of the top movies from this year, Lion and La La Land, both tried to create a narrative around their movie as they went out on the talk shows. La La Land, for example, sent their stars and their director out, and on these talk shows they would talk about the struggles that they had early on in showbiz in Hollywood, which related directly back to the theme of the show. It was personal. It reminded you of what you saw in the movie. It was a great way of building that narrative and getting something started that, you can only talk about the movie for so long, but sharing a personal story, well, you can talk about that. You can talk about something that they heard. It's relatable,
And getting someone excited about, politically. For example, Lion, which is about a boy immigrating from India, really typed into the political climate with, the Trump campaign, with the different immigration things that we have going on. So they're really playing on this political narrative that may get people really emotional about it.
The more buzz you can create with your movie, the more likely it is to win. Not necessarily the most popular movie wins all the time, but you rarely hear about a movie. They don't open the envelope and read off the line for Best Motion Picture that you've never heard of.
Yeah, it all comes down to the marketing and how they have promoted their movie, not only in, having people watch it, but how they promote it in general.
Exactly.
All right, our next story, one of the things that you may have also seen during the Oscars is a Walmart mini-movie. Many turned up for the Oscars this week, including the supermarket giant Walmart. It was a very ingenious campaign. When I first saw the commercial, I immediately knew this was something that we had to cover. They contacted 4 of the best-known directors, award-winning directors, to create these little mini-movies, and their script, or the beginning of their script, was actually just a receipt.
Exactly. So what they did is you can know a lot about a person by what's on the receipt from a grocery shopping trip or from any shopping trip.
I actually think of that when I check out. I look at all my items and I say,
what
does the cashier think about me? Because sometimes you buy like that random item, you're walking along and you buy just this one item and it's like,
yeah,
what does this person think?
Or the 2 items that make no sense together, or the 2 items that make perfect sense together. So in this case, they gave these directors a receipt with how many items was that? 1, 2, 6 items.
3.
And they said, we want you to create a film, and all of these items have to be included in your film.
Yeah, so, these include bananas, paper towels, batteries, a scooter, wrapping paper, and a video baby monitor.
So you don't necessarily think of Walmart and the Oscars. You don't connect those two. But like we were saying, a lot of times they are creating a campaign around the Oscars, not just saying we sponsor the Oscars. So in this case, it was a great way of connecting film or movies with Walmart because they have a very iconic receipt like that's
it's easy to do the whole like, hey, I'm winning an award, but they really are kind of doubling down into this. One of the things that they really talked about, the Walmart U.S. Chief Marketing Officer Tony Rogers had this to say: being a part of the Academy Awards is a great way to connect with our customers in a fresh new way. As the world's largest brand and a company that sells just about everything, we plan to be more involved, more ingrained in the cultural movement that our customers care about, starting with the Oscars. So that's where they're starting. And it sounds like they're going to continue to do this. And I think it's a very smart way to connect to an event more than just like, hey, I want to thank the Academy. It's they're really doing something that's also pushing the envelope of what's happening.
Yeah, well, and when you would go to their website for the receipt, if you go to walmart.com/the receipt, you can find more about the movies, but you can also find out they have advertisements on there for Vudu, which is their movie streaming service. They have like the movies. I mean, we all know about the Walmart movie section.
You can buy the movies. You can also buy stuff that's like movie related for like watching movies or a theater. So they kind of have advertised things that they sell that relate to
movies. Yep,
which is so smart.
It really is. So it's a great way well, we're gonna have to see what happens with this because, it doesn't come cheap. They put a lot of work into this. The Academy Awards has the second highest cost of commercials after the Super Bowl. It's estimated that $1.9 to $2 million is what the cost is for a 30-second commercial.
Yeah, the Super Bowl, if I remember right, was $5 million for a 30-second commercial.
So Oscars have a long way to go.
They still have a while to go.
All right, next story is Mashable.com released a list of 10 books for marketers to read in 2017. If you look at these books and their topics, it actually gives you a little bit of light into what Mashable, which I feel like Mashable knows their marketing. They are pretty savvy in that realm. But it gives light into what current issues are and possible issues down the road in 2017, kind of the trends that we may be seeing. So here they are, the 10 books. If you're a marketer, you should read these in 2017.
They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan.
Number 2, Non-Obvious 2017 by Rohit Bhargava.
Number 3, SEO for Growth by John Janst and Phil Singleton.
Hug Your Haters, which I love that title.
That's a great title.
I really like that title, by Jay Bauer.
Number 5 is Persuasion by Robert Kylindini, PhD.
Number 6, Get Scrappy by Nick Westergaard.
Number 7, What Customers Crave by Nicholas Webb.
Number 8, Invisible Influence by Jonah Berger.
Number 9, Hacking Marketing by Scott Brinker.
And number 10, Digital Sense by Travis Wright and Chris Snook. So there is your reading list right there for 2017. I mean, I hope
great.
You read more than that.
I now have things to read.
And if you are one of our haters, I'll give you a hug. All right? I'd be one.
He really would. He probably would. All right, and for our top story today, Trump cuts the arts. After most elections, the president, a new president comes in, and he always typically looks at the budget. There's cuts, there's changes, new directions, and this is particularly true when it changes from Democrat to Republican, Democrat. Yeah. They try to kind of balance it more towards what their philosophy in government is. But this year, like many times before, this hasn't happened, or this has happened quite a few times. You actually might see some of your favorite things get cut, including the arts, humanities, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
So, in an effort to cut the $4 trillion federal budget by about $2.5 billion a year, so it's year over year, they have chosen to cut funding on many of these services, which, if you don't know what these programs would affect, these programs, they fund things such as PBS, NPR, AmeriCorps, and many other projects out there.
Yeah, I mean, local arts, opera, performances. The money goes to a lot of different projects, and the impact could be a lot bigger than just arts, humanities, some broadcasting pieces. This has a chance of impacting jobs and money that's actually brought in.
So on Wednesday, our Wednesday show is a little bit more meat and potatoes in the topic. We really delve in deep. We are going to be going in depth into what these budget cuts mean, kind of going into what these programs do for the nation.
We'll also cover points and counterpoints on this thing. I mean,
we're really going to try and lay out the information just so you understand both sides of the argument, and then you can feel more informed on this topic, which we feel is a very important topic.
So make sure to tune in on Wednesday, our Wednesday show, where we'll cover this in very fine detail. And that will be great. So what news did you see this week? What news should we be covering? Thank you so much for watching this, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. We really appreciate it.
Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can post stories that you hear about this next week that we can cover. And now, because Mondays are hard, we're going to give you a great video to watch.
Finding inspiration in unusual places. Inspiration can be found anywhere if you really look for it, and that's today's assignment. Create something from nothing.
1 pound banana, 1 pound.